is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. We gonna talk about the top 5 shooting guards going into next year. This does how great they have been consistently, what they did based off last year, how they did in the playoffs, and well-roundedness. Who has the best handles? Who has the best passing ability? Who's the better shooter? All these things are factored in. Plus, it's some high risers and there's some people that got injured. Every year somebody falls off, somebody blows up. It's part of the world, it's part of how the game is. So some people went down, some people went up, some people just got in there for the first time of their career and they're looking to move up to this season coming up. So first I want to give you guys my honorable mentions and I want to tell you why they didn't make it. Um, Brad Beal. I'm a big Brad Beal person. I feel like he should have been an All-Star a while ago, even though I do understand why he wasn't an All-Star because he continued to get injured early in the season, which hurted his chances of being an All-Star. He already was putting up All-Star caliber numbers, but he just could never stay healthy in the beginning of the season to warrant an All-Star spot. He finally was able to do it this year while putting up career numbers almost across the board, became a better playmaker, became a better offensive weapon, and he had, took more pressure when John Wall went injured to be a ball handler and a shot creator. I love Brad Beal game, ability to shoot the spot up jumper, spot up three, handle the ball, get to the basket. I think he can still get even better, especially defensively and offensively. I don't think he hit his ceiling. I don't think he hit his peak. But some of these guys, they beat him out because they was the guy. They was able to help teams make the playoffs as the best player on the teams, and that's the thing that hurted him. I still do think John Wall is better than him, but Bradley Beal is putting in that work, and he continues to get better. He still is very young, and he's not even in his prime yet, so we never know what's gonna happen. 8 for me is Donovan Mitchell. I think a lot of people bought into the hype a little bit too quick. They're giving him high praise, which he does deserve because I was the person that picked him for Rookie of the Year, so I'm not lying. I'm not biased. But one thing I say is he still needs to get a consistent three-point shot. He is very streaky. He struggled in the Houston series, being the playmaker, being a consistent scorer, and a ball handler. When the game slowed down and they forced him to execute, he didn't look as good. But he also going to continue to grow from this. This is his first time making the playoff. This is his first time, actually going against the best teams consistently. And he helped them get to the playoffs. He helped them have a season that none of us would have thought they would have had going into the season. And he went out there, played with his heart, went out there, played hard, and he gave it his all. Even though they didn't win a championship, he showed a lot of heart, and he got a lot of respect from everybody around the world. But to me, like I've been seeing on a lot of lists, he's still not in that top 5 because, he had to do this all at once. So the unpredictability and the lineup changes of the injuries and the trades. And, obviously a lot of people haven't really been given a lot of credit to when Gobert came back. They became a lot better of a team because his defense. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell gets a lot of credit, but you also got to give a lot of credit to Rudy Gobert defense, helping them be able to close and anchor that defense so they can win more games. Because when he came back, is basically when they run. And people forget that. CJ McCollum is a lethal scorer, very efficient, great three-point shooter, ability to create off the dribble, and has great handles, can get to the free throw line, basically can do everything offensively, even being a solid playmaker. The only thing that's bad about CJ is that he's kind of held back because he plays with Dame. Dame holds CJ back from his max potential because he doesn't have to do as much because he has Damian Lillard who takes more shots and has the ball more in his hands, and it's his team. So we never going to see the full unlocked CJ because he plays with another ball handler and scorer and Damian Lillard. Well, that's what he chose to do. He chose to sign an extension. He likes where he plays, and that's one of the things he had to deal with staying in Portland. And as long as he stay there, we may never see the huge max crazy CJ McCollum. But at the same time, if this is his decision, this is where he want to play, this is where he want to be. That's one of the pros, and the cons of him doing it. So I couldn't put him no higher. Um, let's go with the top five. DeMar DeRozan. This is a guy that I see a lot of people taking off the list. For people like Bradley Beal, for people like Donovan Mitchell. DeMar DeRozan helped this team win 59 games, and they did get out of the first round too. So DeMar DeRozan, his biggest weakness is that he doesn't play well in the playoffs. He doesn't get as many foul calls. He's just not as efficient. He's not as dominant in the playoffs. But you can say the same thing for a lot of those players too. A lot of those players haven't made the playoffs, and when they do, they did not have good playoffs this year and several other years. So you can't hold, like people have been doing, you can't just hold DeMar DeRozan accountable for flopping in the playoffs when a lot of guys are doing it too on this list. And in the honorable mentions, they didn't play that well in the playoffs either. So when you factor that in, he had got improvement. He shot better from three, even though he's not where he wants to be. He started to take them. He started to be more comfortable, and he shot better from three, even though it's below average. He's still making improvements. And him being with Chip England in San Antonio, one of the best shot coaches in NBA history, getting everybody that needs a jump shot. DeMar DeRozan has the work ethic. He's loyal, and he wants to continue to get better because he got better to me every year in his NBA season. In his NBA career. So I think that his three-point shot will eventually come. Obviously, it is kind of weird because it's late in his career as he's almost 30. But if he really wants to get to where he wants to go, if he really wants to be the player that he can be and max out his potential, the best place to go to is San Antonio. And the fact that DeJounte Murray is injured, that means DeMar DeRozan gonna get more ball handling duties, and he's gonna be on ball a lot more, being their primary shot creator and scorer. And that's fine because he already proved that he could be a shot creator and scorer last year in Toronto. So I think a lot of people are sleeping and underrating DeMar DeRozan, but his playoff, performances has held him to fifth, and the fact that he's not a great three-point shooter also held him down. But other than that, DeMar DeRozan can handle the ball. He can score with the best of them. He's basically unguardable. He has had team success getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, winning 59 games, almost 60 last year, and he was the best player on that team without a doubt. And you have to give him credit for that. Number 4, Victor Oladipo. He's a guy that wasn't in this list last year, but I told you guys, Victor Oladipo, when he got traded for Paul George, I told you that he will make that jump to be an all-star player. I said he needs to get his body right, he needs to work on his jump shot, and he needs to work on that three-point shot. He worked on his body, he worked on his jump shot, and he worked on that three-point shot, and he became an all-star, all-NBA player. He was already a good ball handler. He was always a solid defender. Obviously, he became a better defender, and the fact that Nate McMillan, who doesn't get credit at all when they talk about Victor Oladipo, putting him in that high-octane offense where he's coming off getting easy shots in transition, getting easy layups and dunks because they pushing the pace. I think that a lot of people are not giving Nate McMillan the credit for putting Victor Oladipo in the system that predicates to his talent, his ability to have that athleticism and that speed and that ability to have that pull-up jump shot. He made it easier by putting the ball in Victor Oladipo's hands and pushing the tempo as quick as they can every possession. So they were getting early offense, and that's basically his best strength because he's an athlete. But his ability to now hit the three off the dribble and hit the jump shots consistently off the dribble made him a high-volume scorer, shooting over 47% and 37% from three. And he's a solid playmaker. You can put the ball in his hands, and he can read the defense, and he knows when to score, he knows when to pass, and he became a significantly better defender once he bought into the concept and the team scheme, and he got a lot of steals because of it. Klay Thompson, only reason I got Klay Thompson higher, he is a great defender, but his three-point shooting is just exceptional. He's more efficient. He plays better off the ball. He can score in the post. He can score off the dribble if he wants to. He can shoot over basically anybody. You cannot give this guy any space. He's a lethal weapon. And, you know, even though he never been the man, and I don't really think he should be the man, because if he fails or flops, people going to turn against him because they think he can do it. They want to see it. But once they see it and he can't win a championship, or he can't win the championship being the best player on the team, then he's going to lose a lot of credit and everybody going to turn against him. So you can't really have your cake and eat it too. So he's better off just staying with Steph and performing in the championship of NBA Finals, basically. But he can shoot, he can defend, he's tall, he's big. He can score. He had 60-point games, a lot of 50-point games, and he's a multiple-time champion, multiple-time All-Star in the Western Conference. And a lot of people sleep on Klay Thompson, obviously, but I'm gonna have him in my top 3 like I did last year. Number 2, Jimmy Butler. Only reason I have Jimmy Butler is because his impact on the game is underrated. His ability to handle the ball and make decisions, whether like Victor Oladipo and DeMar DeRozan, when he has the ball in his hands and he does a pick, you fear him getting that mid-range jump. Not only that, he can post up just like Klay Thompson, hit elbow jumpers over you. He's very physical. He likes to bang. He likes contact, and that helps him get to the free throw line. Plus, you know, he's not the worst three-point shooter. 35% is almost league average, which is 36%, so he's not that far. Everybody say he can't shoot threes. He's not terrible from 3. And on top of that, he doesn't really even need to shoot threes consistently because of how smart he is and how much he understands the game. If anything, you want to stay close to your game. So he shot 3.4 threes a game. Last year, he shot 36%. This last year, he shot 35%. So he's a capable three-point shooter when he needs to shoot, but he's not a high-volume three-point shooter, three-point shot taker. He usually uses the mid-range and the in-between game to get his points, and that's his bread and butter. But his ability to still be able to knock it down when it's necessary and when he feels like he has to shoot it makes you still respect him, and you still have to guard him as so, but he still hasn't lost the fact that he can get easier buckets inside the paint, and that's why his field goal percentage is a lot higher compared to other years. He knows his game. He knows what he does well. He knows what he's great at, but he also expanded his game to the point where he really has that not that many weaknesses in his game, and he continues to get better. And obviously, number 1, I don't really have to say much. For the last couple years, it has been James Harden. He is the best playmaking shooting guard in the league. He can shoot the 3. He can handle the ball. He can get to the rack basically every time he wants to. He's strong. He's physical, just like Jimmy Butler. He's a great free throw shooter. He's a decent three-point shooter. He's as good as a ball handler as Victor Oladipo and DeMar DeRozan. And he has been the only shooting guard to average 30 points in the last couple years since Kobe, I believe. And that shows you how hard it is to do it because he's the only one that has been able to do it. And he's been able to give you a 60-point triple-double. That had never been done. He's been to the Western Conference Finals twice. He's been to NBA Finals once. And at the end of the day, he comes home with the All-NBA first team the last couple years. He came home with the MVP. So if you're the MVP, you should be the number 1 player in your position. If you was able to win the MVP over everybody. He led the team to 65 wins as the best player, and Chris Paul missed significant time, and they kept on keeping on. He kept winning. They kept going. They kept going and kept going. Obviously, he didn't lead them to the NBA Finals, which sucks because he was only 1 game away, 1 quarter away from being in the NBA Finals because they flopped in the fourth quarters in Game 6 and Game 7. And James Harden, he has to win those games. He has to take over. He has to find a way to keep that lead because they had the lead in both of those games. So he really has to work on closing out in the playoffs. If he really wants to win a championship, he has to find other ways to be efficient, find other ways to be effective. Because when it comes to the playoff, he slows down. He doesn't get as many calls. And at the end of the day, he struggles in the playoffs. That's why I said you can't just put the blame on DeMar DeRozan. It's a lot of players at every position that struggles in the playoffs. You can even look up Hall of Famers. The people you think that has been dominant, they struggled in a lot of series. They struggled in a lot of playoff games. And it's not just DeMar DeRozan. It's legends that struggled in NBA Finals, that struggled against certain playoff teams. So it's part of the game. Every matchup, every players that you go against is always different. You're always learning. You're always adjusting. And James Harden has been able to do it the best. And he's been the best scorer and playmaker in this thing. He's not the best defender, but everything else you can basically say he's up in the top 3 or even number 1 in those categories. Let me know who you guys think is the #1 shooting guard in the league. Let me know what you guys' top 5 players in the league is. I mean, the top 5 shooting guards in the league are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Should Donovan Mitchell be higher? Should Bradley Beal be in there? Should CJ be in there? Should DeMar DeRozan fall out? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. This is my top 5. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Check out my Spreadshirt. There you can find t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies, accessories like phone cases, water bottles, and even pillowcases. Anything you need, I have available. At the end of the day, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis, I'm gone.